And this is Ted Hicks. Late Night Parents, ways to follow the show is latenightparents.com. Once again with Danny Thompson in the queue to talk a little NBA. NBA season is about to kick off. Really excited about it. Before we talk about that, we just had the versus battle or non-battle. Big Daddy Kane versus KRS-One. I kind of saw it one way, Danny. I saw it as Big Daddy Kane was on his way to pitching a shutout, but towards the end, he let one runner score across home base. So, since this baseball season, we want to throw in a little baseball analogy. How are you doing?
You know, that versus was I didn't score the versus the same way. I think maybe we have to take it to like a boxing panel, but I thought the fight was a lot closer than what it was. I actually had KRS-One, in a tight one, but the winner of everybody was anybody in Barclays Center. You
Yeah,
know,
that's true.
you know
And the
they
winners
were like,
were true lovers of hip hop.
yes, and you can probably tell nobody under the age of 35 was in that building probably.
No, no. And if you were 45 and higher, you you kind of just go back. You take it back to the essence and you think about it and you're like, wow, this is what, this is how it used to be with lyricists versus what we deal with today, where, mumble rap and hey, I could write one paragraph and that's my entire song. And, back then songs were 5 minutes, 6 minutes. Nowadays you can minutes.
I mean, music is music. I mean, sometimes the fast songs make it so we don't have to listen to for 7, 8 minutes of the same type of artist. So it is what it is. But I mean,
Yeah, it's
actually, that's
true.
another conversation for
That's
another
true.
day because we can get to a whole music debate if we really wanted to about this.
So big shout out to the team at Versus. They put on another excellent weekend for them with boxing, with
Yeah.
Super Cat, with the Fugees, with um, KRS-One versus Big Daddy Kane. So a lot of great things with Triller and all the above.
Yep. Okay. You gotta give them shout outs. And now, we got the pre-fight out the way because Tuesday night we go back. We get in the ring for real on Tuesday.
Dude, Tuesday, NBA season starts.
Yes.
Just want to let everyone know we're not talking about Kyrie tonight. We're not talking about Kyrie Irving. We're not talking about Bradley Beal. We're not talking about, anything in regards to vaccine related stuff. Well, out the gate, we're not going to talk about it. So this is solely about awards, predictions for the upcoming season. Um, Big shout out to Bet Online and sports betting. So, Danny, I got to say to you, who are betters? Who are the betters back for the NBA championship? Is Luka Doncic the true favorite for MVP according to gamblers? Are the Hawks undervalued in terms of projected victories? These type of questions are more answered in our post on Late Night Parents, where we partnered up with BetOnline and SportsBetting.ag to share, betting splits for the upcoming season regarding an NBA title, player awards, and win totals. So, out the gate, this is going to be ad hoc. I'm going to ask you out the gate, MVP. I have listed, I won't give you in a specific order, but my MVP will be Luka Doncic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Kevin Durant. In your understanding of the MVP, your adept understanding of the MVP, who wins the MVP?
This year, I think it's crazy when you look at the talent level of the league and the depth of the league. It's always been this might be the best this might be the best the league has been talent wise in a very, very long time. But to your point, who's the MVP? I'm gonna knock out one from the gang, and that's gonna be Kevin Durant in Brooklyn. Even though Durant might be the best player in the world, the problem is he's still playing with James Harden. And I think in the same situation with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, they split votes because they're just as valuable to their team as the next one. So you take him out of the equation. We mentioned the three, and now it's Luka Doncic, and then you have Giannis. Well, the thing with Dallas is that Dallas, to me, Doncic is going to put up every number possible, but because Dallas won't finish in the top four in the Western Conference, he's going to have a triple double Russell Westbrook type of season for him to get MVP. So listen, Giannis has a jump shot now. Ted, Giannis has a jump shot. He showed it in the preseason. If this jump shot is actually really falling when it counts on Tuesday, all bets are off. It's Giannis. So listen, he had a 50-point games clinching game series. I think it rolls over into the season. Give me Giannis as my MVP, and I think there's a couple other guys that might make it interesting, but I think Giannis is my choice.
Okay. Rookie of the Year, Jalen Green, Cade Cunningham, or Jalen Suggs? Or someone that maybe there might be a wild card out there that I just didn't mention.
I would have said, Evan Mobley from Cleveland on draft night until they acquired Laurie Markkinen. So I think I kind of X'd him out. I love Scotty Barnes in Toronto. I think he's going to be a great fit over there. There's a couple other rookies. It really depends on injury, but if I've got to make a decision right now, listen, it's a two horse race at this point. You have Cade Cunningham, the guy that wants to be in Detroit, that is embracing the culture, the number one overall pick, and then you have Jalen Green, who is this athletic freak of nature. He just has so much athletic potential, and he plays hard, and he likes to back. He has he has some big lofty goals, and so to me, people don't know how good Cade Cunningham was because made it look too easy in college. So I love Cade Cunningham, and so to me, he's the rookie of the year, a little bit edging over Jalen Green. And I just love the fact that Cade Cunningham is the most exciting player Detroit's drafted since Grant Hill, and his game reminds me so much of Grant Hill. So I'm taking Cade Cunningham, but Jalen Green is going to give everybody in Houston Tracy McGrady vibes. That's how talented this kid is.
Defensive Player of the Year, Anthony Davis, Joel Embiid, or Matisse Thybulle?
Thibault is a monster in Philadelphia, a two-way. He's a 3-and-D guy, but he is a defensive terror, and I think his status will be even more known around the league because if Ben Simmons, which is another story, if he's not there anymore, then he is a defensive guy who's going to be the lockdown defender over there. But it's very hard that guys get that type of award, and to me, the best defender in the league is not going to get the award. Um, Rudy Gobert has won the award multiple. I think it's going on 3 times already, and he's been posterized in every single year in the playoffs. I don't think Anthony Davis will play enough games to make the difference. I think he's going to have to play a bigger role in center position. So for me, the defensive player of the year this year is really the guy that took on the biggest responsibility in the playoffs last year. And my guy is Drew Holiday of the Milwaukee Bucks. Listen, if anybody plays harder on defense, a guy guards 4 positions of the court. He's the reason why the Bucks won the championship because the Bucks have pretty much the same roster, but Holiday takes them to a whole nother level. So my defensive player of the year is I'm taking Drew Holiday. We got Bucks MVP, Bucks defensive player of the year. So give me Drew Holiday.
Sixth Man of the Year, Jordan Poole, Tyler Hero, or Jordan Clarkson?
Listen, everybody, you have Utah reporters don't even know who Jordan Clarkson is on the street corner. So, you have reporters asking, who are you? And do you attend Jazz games as the guy that won the Sixth Man of the Year? The Jazz, they do so much. They do so of the six man. You have Jordan Clarkson and you have Joe Ingles, 2 guys that are outstanding six man. Tyler Hero, I think will flourish in that role now with Miami getting Kyle Lowry, and there's so many good six men around the league. So for me this year, the sixth man of the year, I'm gonna have to go back with Joe Ingles of Utah. Clarkson hit an insane number of threes last year. And I think he'll do it again. But Joe Ingles, Ted, is the guy that you go to the YMCA and you look like, okay, this guy's not really much of a basketball player. So yeah, let me check him. And that's the one that's giving the most work to you on the floor. So I love Ingles. I just love his game because he does a bit of everything. He handles the ball, he shoots, he rebounds, and he plays such an important role in Utah. So give me Joe Ingles, Utah, to win the Sixth Man of the Year.
And the award that I love the most improved, Jordan Poole, Kevin Porter Jr., or OG, a boy.
OG Anobi is he's going to be a star in Toronto. Now with Kyle Lowry being gone and Fred VanVleet moving over to point guard, OG has every bit of a chance to unlock some real star potential. I mean, he's not being blocked by Norman Powell, who's now in Portland, and they're giving him more of an offensive role. The question is, can he live up to the offensive role? If he does, he looks like another version of Victor Oladipo, just bigger and stronger. Jordan Poole is on everybody's list because the reason why is Klay Thompson, even though he is cleared, we're not sure how much he's going to play and and the length, the depth of he is, and someone's going to have to score other than Steph Curry in Golden State. Um, I think the most improved player is going to go to somebody that we haven't seen much. And Kevin Porter Jr. was phenomenal in in Houston last year, taking the place of John Wall. And they're trying to trade John Wall right now. So, to me, the most improved player in the NBA this year. Wow, so many big names, so many good names this year. The guy I'm thinking is going to be most improved. Well, you know what? I'm going to go against the grain here. I'm going to go with Kevin Porter Jr. Even though he had big numbers the second half of the season, Porter Jr. He has star potential. The only thing about KPJ is the fact of can he keep his legal issues and keep his self in the game long enough? Because otherwise, he is an all world talent. So give me KPJ, Kevin Porter Jr. in Houston.
I always have a problem every year with this award, Coach of the Year. Frank Vogel, Quinn Snyder, or Steve Nash.
Okay, so we're not talking about the so here's the thing. Frank Vogel does an outstanding job in LA, but I think he kind of gets taken away because the Western Conference isn't at full strength. So I'll take him off. You mentioned Steve Nash in Brooklyn. Listen, it's gas off. I mean, if they don't win 55 games is a problem. If they win 60 plus games, then you're supposed to win. So I'm not sure it's the coach of the year for him. Here's the name I have. I have Rick Carlisle in Indiana as the coach of the year. Carlisle is now, he left Dallas on his own terms. He's going to Indiana. He has a very, very good team out there. And can you imagine if they end up with Ben Simmons in a trade? Otherwise, you still have Brogdon, you still have Sabonis, you have Turner, Miles Turner. They have a lot of guys that play defense, and then they just need a good voice. And Carlisle is a championship pedigree coach. So no offense to Quinn Snyder, but my guy is Rick Carlisle. Yeah.
Okay, let me turn off. Uh, so let's see. From here, NBA championship.
Wow.
I'll
All
go. I'll
right.
go with the top. I'll go with five options. You tell me, go to hell, or you can break down the reason why.
Okay.
Brooklyn Nets, Los Angeles Lakers, Golden State Warriors, Milwaukee Bucks, or Miami Heat.
All right. So the first one on the chopping block is the Golden State Warriors. They're not even the second best team in the Western Conference, so I don't think they will even be in the first five. Everybody is considering Klay Thompson returning, but Golden State, unless they make another move to get another player to go in that realm of the talent they have, meaning Steph, Clay, and Draymond Green, they still need one more. So until they get that player, I assume they're out of the list. Miami's going to get stuck in a bad situation because they'll end up with either Milwaukee or Brooklyn in the playoffs. They match up better with Miami, but match up better with Milwaukee. not as much as Brooklyn because Jimmy Butler be too busy chasing Kevin Durant in the playoff series. So I'm not sure about Miami at this point. So now you have Lakers, who I think will win the Western Conference, and then you have the two teams in the East, which is Brooklyn and Milwaukee. Last year, the playoff series between Brooklyn and Milwaukee was outstanding. It was basically Kevin Durant's foot on the line that kept Durant from making the ultimate comeback story. I think this year Brooklyn is way more focused. It even with the whole Kyrie situation being held over them right now, Kevin Durant looks focused, and you got to think he was playing at half strength last year because he wasn't playing but half the games. But you
Right.
saw him in the playoffs, you saw him in the Olympics, and KD is irritated. KD wants to win. If you watch the NBA Lane commercial, he's like he's got more to go. And I think this is his year to go. So I'm taking Brooklyn out of the East, Lakers out of the West. We're going to get the East Coast West Coast finals that we've all been wanting for years. And you have the big three in LA: Westbrook, Davis, and LeBron James. And I think Kyrie Irving will show up at some point in the season. I think he will show up at one point this season for the Brooklyn, and I think that the Nets will win the championship, and there'll be some changes in the offseason after that. But I think Brooklyn finally gets their championship, and I know Knicks fans will hate to see that championship parade go down Flatbush. They're going to hate it, but I'm taking the Nets to win the whole thing.
Which team do you think is going to have the most wins this season?
In the
Your
regular season,
option, yeah,
uh-huh.
regular season. Your option is Utah Jazz, Phoenix Suns, Philadelphia 76ers, Milwaukee Bucks, Los Angeles Lakers, or Brooklyn Nets.
Well, I'm already going to cancel you. I'm already cancel Phoenix because I'm one of the firm believers that Phoenix basically hit lightning in the bottle last year. LeBron James and Anthony Davis wasn't healthy in the playoffs, so that's why I believe it was lightning in the bottle. The Jazz will end up with the most wins. I I think the Jazz will have the best regular season record, but the Lakers will win the Western Conference. As far as the win total goes, give me Brooklyn because Brooklyn's going to need to win every game possible because you do not want to play a potential game 7 in either Miami or in Milwaukee in the playoffs. So I think Brooklyn will have the best record in the league this year, even without Kyrie Irving for at least until January. I think Irvin or the city of New York will crack one or the other. One of the two will crack, and we'll see Kyrie Irving on the court probably after Christmas, after the ball drops in New York City.
Okay. Uh, hang on one second. My only thought to that is outgoing mayor Bill de Blasio. His last day is, I don't know, January 1st of
Mm-hmm.
22.
Yep.
You know, Eric Adams is looking like he's going to be the next mayor. And he's already gone on record to say that they're going to find a way to get Kyrie back on the floor.
Yep. So that
So,
so that's why I believe that the Irving trade probably won't happen. Um, that's why I think Kyrie gets back on the court after January. But I will say this: if that it gets extended and the mandate still stays in effect, that Blasio's mandate extends into 2022, I would see the Nets at that point trying to trade him at this point. Because if he's not going to show up, you're going to need somebody in the playoffs.
right.
You can't rely on Harden and Durant alone. There's too much firepower in the East, and to be honest with you, if you have to play Milwaukee in a playoff series with just Harden and Durant, you have Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, and Giannis who can guard those guys. I can't win a championship, or Steve Nash can't win a championship if Joe Harris and or Blake Griffin is your third option. If Kyrie doesn't show, Brooklyn fans will be like, why didn't we resign Spencer Dinwiddie and go deeper in this cap? They should have kept Spencer Dinwiddie at this point if they knew Kyrie's situation.
There was one question in the comment field, that I didn't want to address. I'll let you take a crack at it. I'll put it
Okay.
on the screen. It says, "What do you guys think of the whole Kyrie Irving vaccine issue? Are the Nets doing him dirty?"
No, they're not. Here's the thing: we all have choices in life, and with everything in choices, there's consequences. The Brooklyn Nets are not. This is not the Brooklyn Nets suspending Kyrie Irving. It's the state, the city of New York, say that Kyrie Irving cannot be anywhere near
Right,
the facility. And the part that comes with the road games is very simple. You don't want a part time employee. You don't want a guy that's going to have to be automatically a distraction everywhere. It's either something's got to be done. I think at some point, if you look at Kevin Durant and James Harden, the players, and even Steve Nash, you're getting tired of talking about Kyrie Irving at this point. Imagine if Kyrie is a part-time player at this point until whatever situation is made. Yes, you want one of the 15 best players in the league on the court at all times. Of course you do. Everybody does. Brooklyn. You think if Brooklyn didn't want to keep him, they would have traded him a long time ago. He's an essential part of this team. But you do not want to disrupt the chemistry of the team when a guy is only going to be a part-time player. So I'm sorry, no matter who he is, unless it's a situation where it's health involved in it, and it's not, it's a personal choice. The Nets are doing the right thing. It's like any other employer. Because if we were employers, or employees, and we don't have a particular, we have a particular stance, and our job is saying you have to have us go a certain way. What are they going to do to us? We
right,
won't be employed. Kyrie Irving's getting paid $18 million to basically be saying, "Listen, we got your back. We just hope that you'll have ours when it's all said and done." So, no, I don't think that's doing him dirty because if they were doing him dirty, they wouldn't pay him. Kyrie would
right.
go completely
It's true.
checkless, but he's getting half his salary this year. So the Nets are not doing him dirty. They're just doing the best. They're doing the right thing for the team, and this is all about a team. So no, I don't think it's the wrong. I think they're not doing him dirty. Doing him dirty is telling him to go home and not pay him.
Who's your sleeper pick for this year? Which team should we be looking at this upcoming season?
Well, what? I'll give you two of them. I'll give you one for each conference. Sleeper team in the Western Conference is this. Listen, we have talked about the Memphis Grizzlies taking that next step for years. Well, the Memphis Grizzlies traded the guy I thought that was going to make them the next step. So, and Jonas Valanciunas, where did he go? He went to the New Orleans Pelicans. And I think Willie Green and that Pelicans team are the team to watch the Western Conference. Listen, they added Devontae Graham, is a lights out killer in the fourth quarter. Yes, Lonzo Ball is in Chicago, but you have Devontae Graham, Nikhil Alexander Walker is a dynamic backcourt with Kiera Lewis. Of course, you got Brandon Ingram. You have Valanciunas, who's a monster in the low post, and they got even though he's going to be out for the first few weeks. When Zion gets on the court, we all know what Zion can do. It's just when Zion gets on the court, can he stay healthy long enough? But my sleeper team in the West is New Orleans. Now, in the East side of things, the sleeper team for the Eastern Conference for me, listen, there's a lot of buzz brewing in Charlotte. I'm,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say why, and I'm not being a homer in the situation, but the Charlotte Hornets are the team to watch in the Eastern Conference. They're arguably one of the Ted. If you look at League Pass, and for those who don't watch basketball, want to watch something interesting every single night, cut on a Charlotte Hornets broadcast. Not only do you have LaMelo Ball out there on the floor throwing dimes and darts everywhere on the court, you have Miles Bridges and now Kelly Oubre on the wings dunking basketballs. Gordon Hayward being solid and consistent, but you have one of the best announcers in the league, in Eric Collins, who basically humdilly dees his way through every single game and probably has some kind of memorable moment he says in the crowd, in the audience that people are going to that take with them. And Del Curry is a great when it comes to his analysis. But as far as on the court goes, listen, Charlotte has Terry Rozier, who averaged over 20 points a game last year, one of the best 3-point shooters in the league last year. They're exciting, they're young, and they get up and down. And like I said, they have their deficiencies on the interior, but guess what? Every team in the East has deficiencies. So the Hornets are a team that's going to be surprising. They might end up in this. They might end up in the sixth spot. So that's my team to watch in the Eastern Conference. So I have Charlotte in the East, New Orleans out West.
We always say, the NBA is better when the Knicks are better. What do you expect coming out of Gotham City?
Well, I expect them not to be in the playing game. They're a top 6 team in the Eastern Conference. Julius Randle was an all-star last year. Julius Randle he exceeded expectations for New York. I mean, Ted, you look at the Garden last year. The last time the Garden has been on fire like that was when Amari Stoudemire first came to New York. It's been a while. You have playoff basketball, and I know Knicks fans do not have they all have a short memory. And Randle was terrible in the playoffs last year. Okay, the series they
Horrific.
should have won. He was terrible in the playoffs. RJ Barrett wasn't much better. But the Knicks, they went out and Ted, on top of a team that made the playoffs last year, they went and got Evan Fournier, and from Boston. Don't think of Evan Fournier from Boston. Go back to Orlando Evan Fournier and what he does down the stretch in games, late in games. And then Ted, they brought the hometown boy home. They brought Kimba home. Listen, they brought Mr. Step back home, Mr. New York City himself home. Um, him and Derrick Rose as your backcourt, as a 1-2 backcourt, as your point guard position, not asking either one to play superly heavy minutes, but just to be there when needed. The Knicks are a top 6 team in the Eastern Conference. They should even be considered a top 4 team. So I don't expect anything other than an actual playoff spot and not being in the playing game. So Knick fans should not have to worry about playing game this year, barring injury.
Our good buddy Mike Patton, big shout out to Mike, says, "Watch those Bulls, homie."
I love the Bulls. The question is, everybody's going to let them play the Bulls defensively. Outside of, I mean, because Nikola Vucevic, Zach Levine, and I can't remember the power forward's name. The Bulls don't have DeMar DeRozan aren't exactly the best defenders in the league. I mean, they're really relying on Patrick Williams and Lonzo Ball to do a lot of defensive lifting. But I look at Chicago the same way I look at New York, I look at Atlanta, I look at Indiana. They're all in Charlotte. They're all in that stretch where you're about 4 through 8. You're going to be fighting for those spots. Chicago is extremely talented. Kobe White's out for a few weeks, so that means Alex Caruso is going to have to take a bigger role in offense off the bench. So I like Chicago. I think they're a team that's going to be in the top 10. I just don't know if I trust them enough in the top 6 just yet. But they're going to score some points though, a lot of them.
Danny, I want to thank you for providing your insight on predictions for the 2021-2022 season. As a follow-up, we'd like for you to come back tomorrow so that we can sit down and talk about 75 greatest players of all time since it's the 75th anniversary.
Oh, that's going to be a fun one.
That's going to be a fun one. Tell us where we can find you. Tell us where we can find your work, where we can hear your audio, see you on video, and all the above.
Well, you can find me at Danny3Thompson on Twitter. That's where my Twitter handle is. The Hornets postgame podcast will begin live starting on Wednesday night. The Hornets open up their season against the Indiana Pacers. The most comprehensive postgame coverage for all Hornets fans out there. The Around the Association podcast will begin actually this week. I guess I'm doing my video tour starting with Late Night Parents this week. Getting all that stuff together, but you expect to see maybe 1 or 2 15-minute pods this week on that. Check out my work at 3pointconversion.com. I do cover the Charlotte Hornets on a regular basis for the site. And then there's still some more things that are in the pipeline. There'll be another announcement, a bigger announcement sometime, I don't know, the next 24 hours or so. I know Ted's trying to get it out of me, but I will make some kind of announcement tomorrow. And then, like I said, if you're looking for the actually NBA 75 article, it's actually on latenightparents.com. So check it out. I'm pretty sure you're going to have something wonderful to say about it. But Ted and I will go into further detail about it tomorrow, though. So there's lots of places to find me.
That is true. And I am linking it right here, your top 75 article. With that, we're going to get ready to close out. Danny, thank you for coming through. We will see you tomorrow. Ways to follow the show is latenightparents.com. Thank you and good night.